Wait. What was that part about Blue Lives Matter? Where'd that go? Join me now, Angela Rye, politics and culture commentator and host of the One-on-One with Angela Rye podcast, and Kurt Bardella, former House Oversight Committee spokesman and senior advisor to the Lincoln Project. Angela, should we pour a little one out for Blue Lives Matter? Because apparently that's dead. Apparently the cops messed up and it's their fault because they didn't shoot a bunch of people, per Lindsay.
It is amazing how the slogans can change in a matter of seconds, Joy. What is so fascinating to me is this question that was asked all day, and it was such a compelling question by the impeachment managers. What is worthy of impeachment? He wasn't worthy of impeachment last time with the obstruction of justice charge against him. Now it's an incitement of insurrection, which again, I'm continue to call a terrorist attack because it was truly terrorism. And yes, Lindsey Graham was himself also terrified. What I have to ask is, if Hillary Clinton's emails are worthy of her being locked up, then why isn't someone who incited a riot, someone who, of course, is not new to this at all, but is perfectly true to this? This started way before he even began his campaign in 2016. This man has a perpetual problem of calling for death, even in the face of innocence, a la Central Park 5. This is someone who questioned Barack Obama's citizenship, the chief birther himself, right? This is someone who called the coronavirus the Chinese virus. This is someone who had vile attacks on Black Lives Matter and our own friends, right? Joy, have to still to this day pay for security out of their pocket because of some of the things that Donald Trump has tweeted. Attack Jamel Hill, also our friend, the Squad, Congresswoman Maxine Waters. The attacks on Nancy Pelosi were piling up. That's why they felt so comfortable sitting at her desk. What is worthy of impeachment? And if these folks have taken an oath to Donald Trump that we somehow weren't aware of, that we should at least know that, because now what we understand is protecting Donald Trump is more important than upholding the oath of the Constitution that they took to get into office. And all I have to ask of them is the same thing the impeachment managers asked all day. What is worthy of impeachment?
Yeah, apparently, Kurt Bardella, consensual sex, because a lot of these people were in office and impeached Bill Clinton over a sexual affair. But in this case, and they were talking, a lot of them, about a pre-impeachment of Hillary Clinton over her emails or over Benghazi. They called the Benghazi hearings a pre-impeachment, set of hearings. So those are the things they think are impeachable. It sounds to me like what they're saying is what's impeachable is being a Democrat who is elected to office by a diverse electorate. And when Republicans get elected, then elections don't matter anymore. They must be installed no matter what. I wonder what you make of what we got a little bit of this color out of NBC's Julie Sirkin, who was saying that, a lot of the lawyers just weren't in the room. They left the room and weren't even paying attention. A lot of the members weren't in the room. Lindsey Graham, returned to his seat when Jamie Raskin was making his closing argument, per Julie Sirkin, around 4:09, when Raskin was uttering the words, "put to bed," meaning they did the whole, can we dismiss this trial outright? They had a vote on that. That went down. And he said, so that's been put to bed, the constitutionality argument. Graham and Cornyn looked at each other and laughed. So that means that they're basically going to argue something that's moot. Kurt.
I tell you, Joy, it speaks volumes that there are Republicans, jurors, right, who can't even be bothered to attend this proceeding and pay attention to it. That right there is disqualifying of what their job is supposed to be. Then you add in the layer that they have blatantly said that nothing's going to change their mind. And I'll tell you, if you watch the proceedings, the presentations that Democrats have offered over the last couple of days, and you don't walk away feeling something, you are a sociopath. There is something fundamentally wrong and broken with you. What we are witnessing is the full embrace of the Republican Party of the most extreme and radical and racist elements of their base. There is no coming back from this. From this point forward, they are the party that champions anti-democratic values. They are the party that champions the silencing of the votes of people of color in this country. They are the party that champions violence and insurrection and domestic terrorism. The Republican Party, if they allow this to happen, and allow no consequences to befall the person who led the charge and literally instructed people to commit violence and mayhem on our Capitol. If they allow that to happen, the Republican Party is basically a domestic terrorist cell at this point, and they should be treated as such. The idea that this party that spent year after year issuing subpoenas, holding depositions, holding hearings, select committees, had Hillary Clinton in front of the Benghazi committee for more than 10 hours of testimony, that Republican Party can't even be bothered to show up and listen to the presentation of these impeachment managers is a betrayal of justice, is a betrayal of everything that this party professed to once stand for, and we should never forget that and never let them off the hook for that.
You know, Angela, I wanted you to put on your lawyer hat, your chief counsel, legal counsel hat for me for a moment, because just to preview what apparently the argument is going to be tomorrow, I want you to listen to Congressman Roy Blunt. This is apparently what we're in for tomorrow. Oh, it's a graphic, sorry. It's, well, you know, he's going to say, well, you know, we had a summer where people all over the country were doing similar kinds of things. I don't know what the other side will show from Seattle and Portland and other places, but you're going to see similar kinds of tragedies there as well. So basically what they're going to do is they're going to try to say that Black Lives Matter rallies, where at some point at night somebody, you know, threw a Molotov cocktail at a police car, is exactly the same thing. And now I know for my team here, can you guys get me the video of Black Lives Matter storming Capitals? Just get me the video right now of Black Lives Matter storming Capitals. And, oh, I'm sorry, that doesn't exist. There isn't any of that. So, your thoughts, Angie?
Yeah, you know, we're laughing to keep from crying, right, Joy? This is one of those things where from the very beginning, from its inception, when people began to say Black Lives Matter and it was an argument, right? Like this was a point that had to be proven. The fact that Black Lives Matter by its mere existence and by the fact that people would have the nerve to go and protest the right to breathe is in and of itself violent, is the exact problem. Roy Blunt should be ashamed of himself. He should know better. What it's looking like is that the only way that Donald Trump could have potentially been impeached is if one of their colleagues would have lost their lives. Because it's not worthy of an impeachment because a police officer or a participant in the insurrection passed away. When Donald Trump stood on the campaign trail and said that he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and it would have no effect. I know I'm paraphrasing here, but that's essentially what he said. It's looking like that was right. And I just would challenge the United States Senate in a bipartisan way, because this is really about morality at this point, to search deep in your hearts and look at the facts. BLM is not on trial here. Your president is, and you need to treat him accordingly. There needs to be consequences for his actions, or this is only going to get worse.
Yeah, and if they try to put members of Congress of color and Black Lives Matter on trial tomorrow, they're going to prove the point that they don't want made, which is that their party is essentially surrendered fully to white nationalism, because that's at the base of this idea that black people can't elect a president, that it just can be overthrown. They'll just be proving that point. So let's see if they do it. Angela Rye, Kurt Bardella, you guys are great. Thank you very much. And up next, the gripping personal stories of the House impeachment managers and how Trump's lawyers plan, as we just discussed, to counter the Democrats' overwhelming case. That's right after this.